Hello there and welcome. My name is Shantae Holiday and this is Highly Rainy.
Hi, everyone.
Today we are discussing growing versus scaling a business. If you are watching out of state and stuff there or out of the country, go ahead and comment below where you are watching from. We always like to go back and look at those. Highly question, what is the difference in your opinion between growing versus scaling a business? Because I know a lot of people think that they're the same thing. So what are your thoughts on it?
Uh, okay. Now, from what I've read, and I've done a bit of research on this because this was a question that I actually had thought about a while back. Because in this day and age, we hear a lot about scaling your business. Everybody has a product or strategy to scale your business. But what I came to find out was that according to the business experts out there, growth refers to increasing your revenue. Everybody wants that, and expanding your resources, at an equal pace. Those two together, so increasing revenue and expanding your resources. And then you may use that to hire more staff or buy more inventory if you have a product based business and to handle that increase in sales. Where with scaling, they're saying it's about increasing the revenue without increasing costs. It sounds great. Of course, as business owners, we know cost is a crippler. And then if you have a business if you have a way of increasing your sales and get more clients without having to have more resources to service them. And that sounds a lot more tricky, tricky in growth. So that's the difference.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. There. And then how would a person know if their business is even ready to scale?
Well, I know, again, this is something as I'm trying to grow my business, it's something I had to check into. And I found that what in order to scale your business, you got to have a proven, repeatable product or service and systems in place so that you can handle increase in demand no matter what without any customer service suffering in that. So if you got the foundation, you got the leadership, and you have the infrastructure to handle a huge increase in sales, you're ready to scale at that point. Because
Gotcha.
I found that, I've heard stories about folks. I'm sure we all have businesses that seemed like they were blowing up, and then all of a sudden they blew up, and because they scaled prematurely, probably, and they probably suffered operational breakdowns. And the biggest, worst ones are the ones where customer service suffers.
Gotcha. And do you feel like there's like key indicators of business growth, like that a person can look out for before they start to actually scale?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Obviously, when we look at growth, we talk about things and we measure by revenue, your customer base, market share, and if you have a workforce, that would play a huge part in that. But the thing is that this growth, is obviously going to come with increased costs, like we were talking about before. Because if you need more employees, you got to have money to pay them. If you have marketing, you got to pay for that. If you need more equipment, you got to pay for that to keep up with that new demand that you created. Yeah.
Gotcha. So, what are some challenges though that businesses face when scaling?
Quality control, that's probably number one. Again, especially in a product business. Um, And then with all this new activity, you got a higher cash flow. You got to manage that. Um, if you don't have it already, you got to build a good infrastructure that can handle not only the ups but the downs. Because sometimes, if your business might go through sales cycles, slow periods, busy periods, and you got to be able to have an infrastructure that can adjust. So you don't want an infrastructure that's geared up for high, and then when sales cycles down, you got all these extra people you don't know what to do with, so you have to deal with that. Um, and just sort of things like with your team itself. Your team has to be able to handle the high volumes, not only systematically, but sort of like culture, company culture wise, so that they don't feel stressed out when it's higher because they've gotten used to slow things of that like. Um, but at the end of the day, you don't want them to be the swings can impact their performance. And then if it impacts their performance, it could have a negative impact on customer satisfaction.
Gotcha. Do you feel like it's possible though to scale without growing first?
I would say from personal
Like, what if the person's
experience,
like,
it's
right?
possible, but I just don't see it as being a good way to go. I mean, if you're not ready to grow, how can you be ready to scale? Now, of course, there's entrepreneurs out there that will probably tell me, that would probably say to what I'm about to say is, that's BS. I want to make as much money as I can, but I'm going to say, yeah, you got to grow some. So there's some initial growth. You got to maybe, depending on your business, you may need to get to maybe a certain size before you can scale because you can't scale zero. You got to have something to scale. You can't, I mean, because everybody
Right.
knowing math, zero times any number is zero. So if somebody say, I can grow your business 100 times, 100x, as they like to talk about 10x, in that famous book. But if x is zero, so what? 10x doesn't mean anything. So you got to have something. So in short, I just feel like your business got to be at a certain size, depending on what you have set up. And then obviously we talked about the repeatable product, repeatable service. You got to make sure that whole process is tuned and dialed in, as we like to say, so that every time, no matter how many customers, 10, 20, 100, you can hit that mark every single time. And then whether it's 10x or 100x, it doesn't matter. You get the same results every time without a lot of strain. And so because obviously if you don't have all that set up and you scale too fast, it's just going to blow up, because if you got all of these missteps and faults are going to get exaggerated. So now if you got a kink in your service that causes something to get missed, now when it gets missed 10 times, you're like, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Customer, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, let me get that out for you. But try having that conversation with 1,000 Mr. and Mrs. Customers. Nobody wants to have that
Right.
conversation. So and then if you got to do things like refunds, chargebacks, that can have an impact on your cash flow. It can cause you inefficiencies because now you got to go back and fix a mistake. And we all know going back and fixing it is 3 times as much effort and resources as, getting it right the first time.
Gotcha. And how would a business owner decide whether to focus on growth or scaling right now? Like, if a person's watching this and they're like, okay, what exactly should I be tuning in on?
Hmm. Well, again, in my case, as I'm refining things, I say focus on growth first. Focus on growth to get your product, your service, your systems all refined. Like I said before, have it be repeatable in a good way. Um, because when you do all of that and you're doing it right for everyone, it's easier to grow your customer base, because again, customers that are with you stay with you if you have that type of business. Um, if there's a finite customer service level for them, then they either come back if they need to, or they'll be more than happy to tell other people because they're happy with the service you gave them. So they'll tell everybody they know. Um, and then once you got your business model down, and again, we got everything repeatable going the right way, then you can shift the focus from growth to scale. Um, Once you know it's proven, and you can do that, because remember, we talked about the difference between scaling and growth is scaling is blowing up without an equal expanding of costs. So if you're able to scale by bringing in more business without having to expand your cost in an equal amount, that's what scaling is, and then you'll be ready for it.
Gotcha. So, what do you feel like are the systems that a person needs to have in place to successfully scale their business?
Well, of course, me and you have this conversation all the time. Automation is key. I mean,
Amen.
I don't care whether you're a solopreneur or not. And here's the thing, with the cost of automation being relatively inexpensive to other costs that we used to have, why not? I mean, just about everybody out there can come across businesses whose their business is selling automations, and a lot of them are specific to certain industries. Some of them are general, where they'll work with any business. So automation, definitely, you can get so much done. I know me personally, I use automation for a lot of my marketing. I use automation in my credit repair business. So there's a lot of things that go on automatically that if I had to keep up with, I'd go nuts with. Um,
Amen.
I would say having the technology and infrastructure with all of your different business things, the CRM, client relationship management tools, your marketing tools, your a database for all of your things. And if you do perform certain services, there's a lot of technology out there can help you with that. Accounting, but I recommend with accounting, you have a team, which is my next thing that you need to scale, which is having a strong team. If you're the leader and the founder and the creative, if you can do all of that, God bless you. But if you're the creative person, you should have somebody to do strategic stuff. Because I still call myself a solopreneur, but not because I want to be solo. It's just because I have a team, but they're not my employees. At this point, they're more like partners that I work and
Right.
collaborators that they work. Part of their day, part of their efforts is to contribute to my business, but they also have other things that they contribute to as well. But when I talk about a team that's totally dedicated to me and my company, I don't have that yet. That's something I'm working on. And then last and not least is communication channels. I mean, good email, again, part of marketing is part communication. So having those emails, having the SMS for text messaging, and having messaging out there, funnels, banners, promotion, things that tell people out there that you have a business. I'm here to help you with your problems. And so come see me. Because at the end of the day, all of these are just systems, whether it's systems of people, systems of technology, and they allow us to handle a huge amount of demand, whether you have it now or increased demand, without having to add more resources, because they are an expanding resource that we can take care of, that we can take advantage of.
Gotcha. And you guys, thank you so much. If you're still watching, if you made it this far, go ahead and comment the word scale in the comments. That way we know you're still here. Highly, I would love to know how a person can scale their business without breaking the bank. Do you have any suggestions?
Well, here's a few of some of the things that I've tried to do. I've tried to basically get the most out of what I already have, before I go out and run out and try to buy something new or try to get something new. I try to optimize the processes I have, again, using automation. I do outsourcing. I mean, I use virtual assistant for a couple of things. I've used other things rather than me try to do this and do that. I've hired people. Of course, we know there's lots of folks out there that say, "Oh, I can help you with your marketing. Oh, I can help you with your YouTube posting. Oh, I can help you with your funnels, things like that." some of those folks I have used on occasion, and it becomes a soul search still because there's a lot of folks out there, but you try to go. It's like anything other service, plumber, electrician, go with somebody that has used. That's the best place to start. Um, um, Especially the non-core stuff. But using the automation, including that and other types of technology to try to make things more efficient and again, get the most of what you already got. And then basically taking all those resources and it's another buzzword we hear about today, leveraging. So and basically just be, as solopreneurs, I know a lot of us, we have limited resources. So just try to make the most we can. In other words, squeeze all the juice out that lemon. Out of that orange. We don't want no lemons. We squeeze the juice out of that orange,
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, so what role though do you feel like technology plays in scaling a business?
In this day and age, let's face it. Let's just keep it real. It's everything. I mean, can you run a business without technology? Which I guess you'd have to define what technology is, because 100 years ago, an automobile was technology. Anything that any kind of tool is technology.
Right.
But it's critical in this day and age because here's the beautiful part is though, it's technology that makes the level feel a lot more even for me and you with bigger companies who've been around. I mean, let's think about it. Technology is what allows me and you to write books, right? We've published books. We both published books. And before the technology that's here now, you had to go to a publishing house and they had to like you good enough to say your book was good enough to waste their time to consider that. And then they were gatekeepers. Technology takes down a lot of those gates. Some of them, it opens the gates. Some of it pushes the gates down to the ground and we all can just run in. So technology is critical in that part because obviously technology is the foundation, it's the backbone for automation and operational efficiency, and it allows us to manage that higher volume of customers and clients without having to hire more people because again you got systems in place or other overhead, because oftentimes if you got, say you're using a platform and for managing your customers, whatever, assuming if that platform gives you a limited amount of spaces for customers, but most of them now, I mean, some of them are unlimited, some of them are hundreds of thousands, so you haven't even filled up all your slots yet. Even the ones that have limitations, if you wanted to expand to add more spots, the cost is usually nominal, so it's not like you got to have this huge overhaul of things just to be able to handle more customers. So that's the beauty of technology. And and allowing you to leverage it and expand without a huge influx of cash.
Gotcha. Okay. And how do you feel like a person can maintain quality though while they're doing all that scaling?
You still got to keep your eye on the ball. You can't just say, let the technology handle it. We still have to care about our customers, right?
Exactly.
We still, I mean, even though the technology will give us all of these robust processes, as they call them, because it'll handle it. It'll handle the increases in people. It'll handle that extra 20 people a day that you get or whatever. But people still have to communicate. People still, if you got team members, they still got to be properly trained. If you got any other back office people that handle things, they still have to do things with a proper mindset. Well, no, I'm gonna go better than that. A customer first mindset, which is the most proper mindset any business person should have. And that if you got a team, you got to have that culture that will prioritize quality before quantity. Even though the business is expanding and we're seeing increased quality, they still want to be able to say, if we're doing Gold Star with 100 people, we should be doing a Gold Star with 1,000 people. And with every expansion, everything should expand. Quality should expand along with the customer. So I think that's the main thing.
Okay. And what do you feel like is the best way to finance scaling a business? Because I know there's 1,000 different ways, but what do you feel like is the best way?
Oh, this is what I've had disputes with fellow business solopreneurs, especially with this one, because it's a hard one. I mean, first and
Right.
foremost, you got to reinvest your profits. I know a lot of people say I built this business to pay my bills and live my lifestyle off of it. That ain't the time yet. You ain't there yet. I mean, I ain't there yet, So you got to reinvest first and foremost. Outside of that, if you feel like if your business is such that you can get investors, you could consider that partnerships, things of that nature, or just flat out business financing, whether it's business loans, SBA style, or business credit. I'm a big fan of that. Business credit, where you can get, credit cards, other type of financing to help finance the business and finance that scaling. But
Got
I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't start with a plan, it's better to start with one. But if you don't start with a plan, you need to come up with one, and not tomorrow. You come up with one today, so that you always got to be thinking ahead, right? You know that we always got to be thinking ahead, because every time we consider a new business venture or a new enhancement to customer service, of course, we know it often comes with a cost, and so we have to decide: does this cost make sense? I try not to put the nuts and bolts in there. I try to say, just think about the customer first, make the customer better, and we'll see if we can recoup later, and add value to the service, where we might consider a change in price or something, or after we get so many people, it pays for itself type of thing. So I struggle with that, because oftentimes I try to make it make fiscal sense before it makes customer service sense. And I keep slapping my head like, nope, think about the customer first, worry about the money later, worry about that too. So, but then you always got to be careful. We don't want to overextend ourselves and run out of the munchies, as they say,
right.
you know.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think long and hard. If I think it adds real value to people, I go ahead and bite the bullet and pay for whatever. Um, Thinking long term, it'll come back. Yeah,
And it will. It
I
does.
believe. Yeah, and so far it has for me. I'm sure you've experienced the same thing.
Yeah, no, for sure and stuff. Because sometimes you're walking by faith and and stuff there, and you don't know the turnout until you get to the end, and you're like, okay, it all worked out, thank God. Um, and stuff that no, seriously
Yeah,
and stuff. So I don't know if a lot of other business owners, if you're watching right now and you've ever experienced a walking by faith moment in your business, go ahead and put it in the comments because we'd
please,
love to read it.
please,
And
yeah,
stuff.
because
You know,
yeah,
go ahead and comment down below grow to let us know you've made it to the end of the video as well. We appreciate you. We just went over how to your business, growing your business versus scaling your business. And while both growth and scaling are essential for long term success, understanding the difference helps you strategically plan your business expansion.
mhm.
Um, Highly, did you have any final words and stuff there for the people before we say goodbye?
Two things, real quick.
Uh-huh.
Piggybacking on what you just said, and not only knowing the difference between the two, I think it's important, each and every one of us as business owners, and whether it's an existing business or you got one thing going, you start something new. Because some people, and not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with it, they want to be serial entrepreneurs where they want to start one business after another, after another, after another, but the roots have not taken hold on that first one, and they're already trying to do something different. I know I'm mindful of that because there's so many things that I want to help people with, I try to pace myself to where I don't do that. So not only knowing the difference between growing and scaling, knowing what it's important that each one of us know where our business is. You should know, anybody watching, make sure you know where your business is. And if you're at this growth stage, continue with it, and then determine or look in advance to see at what level is scaling making more sense. Don't assume that because everybody talks about scaling that you're there yet. Because I that's what I did, because had adopted this scale mindset, and then after doing some research on that, I found out that guess what? I'm not even at scale. I'm not ready to scale yet. I'm still in growth mode. And so I said, oh, okay. So some of these things that were diverting my attention, I don't want to call them distractions because they're legitimate strategies. And they're good strategies. They're just not, I'm not ready to take advantage of those. So I had to focus on the things that were growth. So know whether you are in growth mode or scale mode, and you can't force it. I believe you can't. Somebody out there might tell me he's full of it. You can force it, but you got it. You're not really forcing it. You're just getting ready for it. And then you get ready for it at whatever pace you can handle. If you can quickly get to from growth mode to scale, by all means, go for it. Secondly, because both of them are important, obviously, and both of them are important long term. And then understanding the difference, like I just said, understanding the difference and make sure you're in the right place at the right time. But remember, whether it's growth or whether it's scale, it's step by step. You can't rush it. You can't go out and I know it's a lot of folks, God bless them, that are selling all manner of courses and educational things about scaling your business, even services. Just make sure, not saying that any of them are bad, but here's the thing. Whether you're ready or not, they're going to sell it to you. So the opportunity, the problem is you may be buying something that's great. It's totally legit. But if you're not ready to use it, then it's not going to serve you. You can go out and buy an airplane, but if you don't know how to fly it, it's still going to sit on the ground. It look cute. You can take some photos in it. You can have selfies in it, whatever. But unless you hire a pilot, you can fly it. It's a great tool. It's a great machine. But if you're not ready to fly, then you need to buy a truck, or whatever. So, that's just my 2 cents. But again, knowing when to grow and when to scale is key for long-term success. And I don't know about you, I want to be in it for the long haul. So don't let the gray fool you. I still got a lot of years left.
I know that's right. And there's nothing wrong with that. You guys go ahead and let us know in the comments if you're in growth mode or scale mode, because Hailey touched on some really good points there. And we appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any ideas on what you would like our next episode to be on, go ahead and put that down in the comments as well. We appreciate your input and value it. And we look forward to seeing you guys in the next episode. Have a great day.
Take care, guys. Bye.